I'm Lisa Dahl, health and wellness coach, and welcome to Getting Healthy Without Rules. This show is about understanding the things that impact your wellness and finding ways to improve it. We support a non-diet, no-rule approach to health and wellness. Health and wellness is a moving target because we all have different needs and opportunities to improve it. This allows you to be able to make the best choice for you with the information that you have right now. It allows you to be present, flexible, and resilient. In addition, I support you from moving from judgment to curiosity and offering yourself self-compassion. It's time that we are all a little bit kinder to ourselves. In this show, we talk a lot about the many aspects of health and self and how they are all interconnected. Today, we are talking about sleep, which is one of the foundations of health and wellness, and it is interconnected with all the different aspects of self and health, and specifically our mental, emotional, and physical health. I see this all the time when I'm working with my clients and we are talking about the challenges that they're having. And often the root cause starts with their lack of sleep, and it shows up with their inability to make good food choices, their impatience with their children, their lack of focus at work, and their ability to manage stressful situations. In today's episode, we're going to dive deeper into sleep. Why sleep is one of the foundations of health and wellness. What do we mean by good, refreshing sleep? Why so many of us struggle with enough sleep? And ways we can improve our sleep, including resources available that are important and impactful to you. There is no exact science on how to have the best sleep. It's about determining what is best for you. Be sure to stay to the end for ways to be able to get refreshing, consistent sleep that will work for you. Today, I am privileged to introduce Callie Patrick, a sleep expert. Callie is a sleep and well-being coach who works virtually from Boston, Massachusetts. She combines health and wellness coaching with therapeutic applications of yoga meditation to help stressed out, busy professionals reclaim their sleep. Their energy, and enthusiasm for life. Callie's book, Mastering Your Sleep Puzzle, Your 12-Week Guide to Sleeping Better, was recently released. If you're a stressed out, busy person who struggles with sleep, you might be tired of the numerous tips and tricks, pills and products, apps and gadgets, and restrictive plans that fail to help you improve your situation long term. This book is for you. And I have to say that this book holds a very special place in my heart. I have to share a proud mama moment that my daughter, Sam Dahl of Dahl House Designs, designed her cover. And in addition, Callie has taken the time to work with a member in my family to improve their sleep. And if they are sleeping better, we are all sleeping better. Callie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, to begin, tell me why sleep has such a deep connection with health and wellness.
Oh gosh, like you said, I could write a whole book about, I could write a whole separate book. There's a chapter in the book that talks about the various ways that sleep impacts people's health and well-being. But as some of my mentors in the sleep field have said, really sleep is at the root of all of our chronic diseases of the day, or rather sleep deprivation is. So, and as you mentioned, when we're sleeping better, all other aspects, all of those other pillars of health really fall into place. And that's part of why I decided to specialize in sleep, right? As a health and well-being coach myself, I used to work with people on all sorts of things. And as I discovered, when someone is not sleeping well, it is hard to, like you said, make healthy food choices. Chemically, the body feels hunger differently, as you likely know. We are not motivated to move and exercise when we're tired. It's just a fact. And stress resilience is decreased. Mood is greatly impacted by the quality of our sleep. And so for just that and so many other reasons, I decided that it was really important to focus on this pillar of health that it is not as common, I guess, as looking at exercise and looking at nutrition and eating. At least it hadn't been.
Right. We all think that the problem is here, and it's really important to understand that often the challenge comes from someplace deeper.
Exactly.
When we've spoken, I've heard you use the words refreshing sleep.
Yes.
How do I get it? Tell me, how does that happen?
Yes.
What is it?
Yes, I first heard that term back when I was struggling with my sleep, because I've had, as you know, I had 20 years of trouble myself and tried all the things. And when I first heard someone describe sleep as refreshing, it blew my mind. I couldn't even grasp what that would feel like. And I thought the person was, quite frankly, a little nuts.
It reminds me of the saying when people say, sleep like a baby. And my children are grown. They never slept. I even took them to see the sleep doctor of the time, Dr. Ferber.
Right.
And everyone would say, oh, they slept so well. And I'm thinking, my babies, I am up all night with them.
The sleep like a baby thing is not, I say sleep like a cat.
Ah, curled up all snuggly.
Exactly.
So how do you get that?
Well, it's different for everyone. But you asked me what is refreshing sleep like. So it would be an experience where you go to sleep, you fall asleep in the recommended amount of time, which is not instantly, as many people think it might be. You might wake up a couple times during the night, again, completely normal. A lot of my clients get very concerned about that, but again, there are reasons why we naturally wake up or come in and out of sleep in the nighttime. And you wake up, you feel energized, you feel excited about the day. The energy that you have throughout the day, it's not that it never falls, right? Again, I think there's a misperception that we should be able to go from the time our feet come out of the bed and hit the floor until the end of the day when we're ready to go back into bed. It's not like that. So we'll have natural energy ebbs and flows, but generally speaking, your energy will be relatively consistent. There won't be crashes and lots of energy, right? Dipping back and forth. It'll be a nice smooth wave, and then you ride that wave down into bedtime the next night. So, and all of the benefits of refreshing sleep, we experience that in our day, right? Things happen, stuff happens. How do we respond to that? Do we feel grounded and centered even when there is chaos?
Because it happens.
Of course.
It's, just as I say in my introduction, health and wellness, it ebbs and flows. It is always up and down.
Right.
You mentioned something when we fall asleep that we all think that we should instantly fall asleep. I hit the pillow.
Right.
What is a natural time frame? Granted, it's not the same for everybody.
Right.
What is the range of comfort?
Right. It's depending on which expert you talk to or read about. It's somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes is normal. Sometimes you see it around 15 to 20 minutes. But I work with a lot of people who say, my husband, my wife, their head hits the pillow and they are out. And I wish I could do that.
Welcome to my bedroom.
Why can't I do that? And that's generally a symptom of being overtired, that you just crash like that. So it's not really what you want. You want to have that range of settling in, of relaxing, and of surrendering, which is really what sleep is about. I think so many times right now people are trying so hard to get better sleep. They're looking to control what is not controllable, what is really a release and a surrender and a letting go. And that works against a lot of people.
So it's so interesting because it's shifting your perspective.
Absolutely.
So, my partner and I, we get into bed and he falls asleep instantly. I tend to have a low-level stress response when I get into bed. Like all the things come, I don't want to say crashing down, but feel heavy in my body, and it takes me time to unwind, settle down.
Sure.
And it's interesting when you switch the perspective on what that experience is actually like, that it's not good or bad, right or wrong, it is my own experience.
Right, it's normal for that person, right?
Right.
And I always kind of joke, people will ask me, do I have a problem with my sleep? And that's an odd question, right? Because if there's no problem, there's no problem, right?
Right.
If you're mostly feeling energized and happy and your life is going well and you're handling things the way you want to be, you're showing up in the world as the person you want to be, then, I don't care whether you go to bed at midnight and wake up at 8 versus someone who goes to bed at 9 and wakes up at 6 or whatever.
So I'm curious, because we all know that there are standard hours
Yes.
of recommended sleep.
Yes.
And I know people who need 10 hours. I know people who need 6 hours. I'm somebody who can function continuously for 4 hours with that 4 to 5 hour range. And then I get fearful because I read all these things about how harmful it is for my health long term. Tell me your
Yes.
thoughts on the recommended sleep and the science behind that.
Sure. So the recommended number of hours, as you probably know, for adults is between 7 to 9 hours. There have been some studies that show that women need more. They need toward the 9 hour end. Personally, I feel best for myself when I'm between 8 and 9 hours. The reason why 4 to 6 hours becomes a problem, even though it doesn't feel like a problem for you, for example, is that that's considered short sleep. And what they've done is they've shown that even a single night of short sleep creates a 70% of reduction in your body's ability to fight disease and your immune system. So, back in the day, I was talking around flus, right? Preventing flus and recovering from illnesses like flu, but they've tied that to some cancers. Certainly we have COVID now, so it may not feel like you are suffering, but that short sleep is reducing your immune system's functioning.
So it's interesting is that, again, there's no hard and fast rules. I mean, I have no idea what my prediction could be for a long-term illness. My everyday system is probably better than anybody I know.
Right.
So it's so interesting how, there is no black and white when it comes to health and wellness. I'm certainly not disputing the science because it worries me about the long term.
Well, and how much you worry matters. Right. Because some people, they come to me and they say, I've read all these things about how horrible it is to sleep only 4 hours, but I can't. And then there's a layer of angst and anxiety on top of the fact that they're only getting that much sleep. So the question is, first of all,
is it a problem?
Well, is it a problem? But why are they only getting 4 to 6 hours? Is that because how they feel best? Is it because they're experiencing something like revenge bedtime procrastination, which is now...
That's a conversation.
It's certainly a conversation and something new. I first learned the term when I was interviewed by someone who wrote an article in the Boston Globe, and I said, well, gee, what is that? And it's a fancy name for delaying bedtime.
I have lots of clients like that.
Because, hey, I don't get time to myself. And there's the problem.
Right.
The problem is that they're taking that time for themselves when they should be sleeping and really depriving themselves of the benefits of rest and recovery.
That's such a great term.
It really is.
And it is so true. I was just talking to a young woman yesterday, and she was saying how it's like the kids, like, full day, she's working, she's managing the kids. She doesn't want to go to bed at 10 o'clock because she just sat down to have time to herself at 9 o'clock at night. That, for her, the priority is just to have some downtime. She wants to watch some trashy TV. She wants to just be. Mm-hmm. And what a great name. And it just adds a little humor and acceptance to what it is, and try to stay away from that judgment of, I'm being rebellious, that I don't want to go to bed like a child.
Right. And as a coach, part of my job when we're looking at sleep and well-being is to help that person look at what's going on in their life, get the help, get the support, or find those windows of time for themselves, because obviously that is something that is very important and that is missing.
Right.
And getting it by sacrificing something else that is vital for your health and well-being is not really the ideal way to be getting that.
It is trying to figure out the pros, the cons, what do you have to give up to what do you have to gain.
Sure.
And our environment, our support is so important to anything in improving our health and wellness. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what are a few top challenges that you do hear from your clients?
Well, certainly I experienced, as I said, I experienced these challenges myself, but I hear from a lot of people who have tried everything, right? They have done the sleep hygiene, right? If you search the web for tips and tricks and hacks and all this for better sleep, you get the standard list of sleep hygiene, get your light, and certainly these are things that are important, right? Go to bed at a reasonable hour, the caffeine, the screens, right? These are all things that are important, but in and of themselves, they're not always sufficient. So I get a lot of people who are very frustrated because they are rule followers, right?
Something that you can easily relate to.
Of course. They okay, well, I need to do this, this, and this. I check the boxes, and well, why am I still not sleeping? So I hear that a lot, whether it's they're not falling asleep in a time that they feel is acceptable, whether their sleep is fragmented and they're waking up repeatedly in the night, unable to get back to sleep, or they're waking early, right? That's the other sort of category. They wake up at 4:30, and okay, now I can't get back to sleep, or I might as well get up. I won't say that they can't get back to sleep, but the brain starts to work and says, oh, well, I'm up. I might as well be productive, not recognizing that sleep at that time is very productive for them and the rest of their day. So, the frustration certainly with what's out there. I also hear from people who have, one of the things I ask is always, what have you tried already? The amount of medications, the amount of supplements, these things that people ingest, sometimes cocktails of, I mix this with that, and sometimes this works, and that's a challenge. There are still many, medical professionals who don't have the time that we have as coaches to be able to spend with people to help them untangle these issues. So, okay, well, let's prescribe this and see what happens. And whether they're medications, whether they're supplements and natural, they're generally not cures for struggles with sleep. I see a lot with melatonin, for example, as a natural sleep aid, and certainly there are situations where that's really useful. And I'm not a doctor, I don't pretend to play one on TV, but there's a lot of misunderstandings about what these medications and what these supplements can do for folks. My favorite story, if I can just say about melatonin, is that many people think, well, I take the melatonin and it makes me fall asleep. But melatonin actually is a natural chemical in your brain that is secreted that tells you the time to sleep is coming, right? And by watching our screens, by decompressing with our television shows and our phones, we are preventing our brain's natural ability to make melatonin, and then we're taking it as a supplement, which when I first heard it strikes me as the most ridiculous, it's kind of stubborn thing.
Well, in my opinion, we live in a society, we all want these quick fixes.
Exactly.
Go to Google, here's the list.
Right.
It all seems so simple, and it's not easy.
Right.
We think that we automatically need to be fixed. And when we shift our thoughts from that we're not broken, that we need to just unpack the challenges that we're having and to move and shift in that direction and heal the challenge, as opposed to putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yes.
We get so lost if our medical system, and again, we both agree we are not doctors, we're not going there.
Right.
If we were accepting of time and patience and compassion, we would have a different treatment plan than take this, do this, create that cocktail.
Absolutely. And like I said, many people are still frustrated with that. And when someone has struggled for a long time, they're much more likely to have the anxious feelings around sleep, around going to bed, right? So forget about revenge bedtime procrastination, right? Somebody might be actually fearful, like, okay, I am going to go to bed and I'm going to expect that I'm going to have a horrible night's sleep. And then we have a layer on top of what might have been a real original couple nights of bad sleep. Now we have the self-talk that is, in some cases abusive, self-abusive, the exact opposite of compassion. And that makes the act of going to bed, or what the expectations are of our sleep, poor. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right. It goes back into, what is going on in the mind. Often it is our perspective, our thoughts that exasperate the original challenge.
Absolutely.
So I know when I work with my clients, we spend time talking about awareness, understanding, getting to that root issue, creating that health and wellness vision plan of what their future best self is going to feel like, be like, what that situation is.
Yes.
And then we unpack it and we set, create small actions and behaviors for them to do on a daily, weekly basis. Tell me how you work with implementing, as an expert, how do you implement all of that into the health and wellness plan?
Right. So as you likely know, I work in a 12-week coaching program, and I created this myself before I had some of the additional health and wellness training that I recently got. And it was through working with a lot of clients. And what I like to do is to make sure that the process is flexible. Obviously, that it does include the coaching techniques that we both use. So we do certainly start out with the vision, with what do I want my life to be like in 6 to 12 months from now?
The crystal ball.
Yes, exactly. And I just worked with somebody on this last week, and the common vision I get as a sleep and well-being coach from people is, well, I want to sleep better. Okay. Well, what about that is important to you, right? And so as we talk through that, it's interesting because most of my clients' visions don't include sleep, right? It includes, well, I really want to be there for my family, or I want to start this business and I don't have the motivation, I don't have the energy, right? So I have never had a client who comes to me for sleep create a vision that mentions sleep, because ultimately it goes well beyond that into what do they really want for their life. And as you said, what is the motivation for the behavior change?
Right.
So we certainly start there. We set 3-month goals and then smaller weekly steps to start moving in that direction. And I think what's also a bit unique about my coaching is that I'm also, as you mentioned in your intro, a therapeutically trained yoga and meditation teacher. And I just want to mention a little bit about that because I do incorporate that into my coaching programs. And I'm seeing a lot of yoga and meditation and mindfulness being used in lots of different contexts, right? Therapists are using it now. Many coaches are using it. And as you probably understand, yoga is way more than exercise. I actually use it in my coaching to help people with one of the main root causes of sleep disturbance, which is that hyper-aroused nervous system, right? That energy you feel when you go to bed, right?
Yes.
I feel it. That's what many of us feel from being on the go all day, from taking in so much information, from dealing with so much, drama and just life experience right now. So we use it not to, get the yoga booty, but to calm the nervous system. And from the meditation perspective, there are so many apps now, right, that, well, this is going to help me calm down, or I'm going to listen to this meditation and it'll put me to sleep, is so undervaluing these techniques and tools, because the result of meditation and yoga practices, the outcome that we really get from those practices is clarity. It is not calm, it is not balance, it is not peace, it is clarity. And as you know, as a coach, we're trying to help people see things they couldn't see before, to make new connections, to have those aha moments. And so for me, all these modalities really work together to support each other. And so someone can be doing a meditation and that enables them to have an insight as we're coaching that these things seem unrelated, right? Well, I'm meditating, I'm thinking about the moon or some other object, and but now I had this epiphany about why I'm doing this or what's happening here. So it's really powerful to combine these things. And I feel like I've done that creatively, and I've seen it be really interesting for people who don't have experience with yoga or meditation or have had a bad experience with these.
It's because you can start anywhere at any time. And when we're talking about using these tools, it's really about building the muscle of self-efficacy, that you have the ability to learn how to use these things and take them into your practice so that you can use them anytime, any place. That yoga and meditation is not just for midnight.
Right.
When you're in the middle of the day and you're having a stressful situation, managing that situation or having the skills to be able to maneuver that situation sets you up for that greater success as you end your day and wind down and begin the next cycle of what your day is going to be like, or that sleep cycle.
Yes, yes.
What do you find are the root causes? What do you see as the most common threads?
Right. Well, I mentioned the overstimulation.
Yes, that was one.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is definitely, for the clients I work with who are mostly stressed out, busy professionals.
Yep.
Right. People who are passionate and, I'll say type A kind of people, and I put myself into that category as well.
We all try to recover from that category.
Right. So that's certainly one of the underlying root causes that I see quite a bit. The second one I also mentioned in our conversation earlier is just about this mindset, how people talk to themselves when they're not sleeping well. It has been shown that, if you have a night of bad sleep, 2 nights of bad sleep, 3 nights of bad sleep, there's something going on in your life. It disrupts your sleep, right? That might be a schedule change. It might be a disruption in just your life. It might be an illness in the family. Life, again, happens. So when there are a couple days of poor sleep, what usually ends up taking that acute situation and turning it into a chronic problem is the thought process, right? So it's, oh my gosh, I'm going to go into this pattern again if someone has had prior experience or struggles with sleep, or it's just that, maybe something's wrong with me, et cetera, and it continues from there.
To build.
So again, if you can avoid even getting to that point, there's a whole chapter on mindset in my book and about talking to yourself when you're not sleeping the way you want to be. That's really important for halting the process.
It's when I work with my clients, food, I refer to that food as the messenger. The food itself is not the challenge or the problem.
Right.
What is that message? And sometimes it could be the sleep, and then we need to go further back because it might be coming back to the overstimulation or the stress. That cluing in to create that awareness gives you that foundation of where you can start to kind of create that web of where it's going to lead to, and that it's not black and white.
Right. And you just need that one little cue, right?
One small
that one thing that you're just like, I didn't think about that before, or I thought about it before, but not quite that way. And really, as you know, as a coach, the idea is to just help people use their strengths to see things, to create these opportunities where they can just take that next step forward.
And when I work with, when I think we both work with our clients and they'll say, well, all I noticed was, that's the win.
Right.
It's not that you have to make this big, huge change and wake up in tomorrow morning and I'm going to do these steps. Mm-hmm. It is becoming connected, connecting your mind, connecting your body, understanding the signals, understanding those voices. What are they telling you? How is it moving you forward?
The voices are huge. I talk with so many clients about reconnecting with their intuition or their intuitive voice, right? And I don't say that to be woo. I say that to be, that part of you that's just that quiet, calm, I know what to do, because
you can be the expert.
Absolutely. Right. I'm not here to say, hey, you must do X, Y, Z.
It needs to come from in here within them, that
Absolutely.
Intrinsic connection.
Yes.
Before you tell us about this week's practice, are there any other tips or interesting sleep facts that you would like to share with us?
Oh gosh, we've covered so many. I guess one of the other things that I'll mention, I think we were speaking with, I was speaking to you about it before we got on camera, right? Was about this idea of control.
Yes.
So many people, again, are trying to control sleep.
Everything.
And I would love for people to recognize that sleep is inherently a surrender. It is a letting go. It is a release. And it's so important to look at your daytime and say, how well do I do that in my daytime?
So the point is to look bigger than that moment in that time.
Absolutely.
Because that's the trigger that's telling you something's going on. It's not just about 11:05 on a Saturday night or whatever night it is that you can't fall asleep.
In my experience, the problem is not at 3 a.m. The problem is at 3 p.m. The problem is not at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night whenever you go to bed and can't fall asleep. It's during the daytime. So yes, shifting that perspective from night to day.
So tell me, I know that you have a free chapter that you are offering for your book. Just quick highlight, what are they going to find in that chapter so they know why they have to go get it?
Sure, the chapter is called Lifestyle Habits Wrecking Your Sleep.
Here we go. And it was perfect.
And it was one of the first pieces that I put together with the help of a coach that I worked with as I started to articulate these things. And again, these were things that I kept seeing and hearing over and over again with my clients. And they started out as 3 lifestyle habits, and then it went to 5, and now I have a webinar that I talk about 10, because there are just so many little pieces, so many little things that, again, are happening during the day that are contributing to either a refreshing night's sleep on the one hand, or sleep deprivation and a not so great experience on the other hand. And really that chapter was the start, I think, of this book, right? It's called Mastering Your Sleep Puzzle, right? So here are lots of different elements that are happening during the day that could be responsible for how someone is experiencing sleep at night. So I thought that was a great chapter to offer up as an example.
Yeah, when I read through it, it's an easy read. You can easily see yourself in so many different situations that there is something for everybody in that book. We all have to sleep. How do we make it to be the best experience than we could make it? Today we talked about refreshing sleep, challenges, opportunities, learning how to unpack it, how to create that future best self, and knowing that sleep is part of it and not all of it. If you are looking to continue the conversation, please join me for my free office hours, my free conversations, and I would love to hear about what's happening with your health and wellness. Share your wins, your challenges, and ask questions, because I would love to be able to address those, because if you are experiencing a challenge or a question, chances are somebody else is too. So Callie, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to sharing our next episode of Getting Healthy Without Rules.